So let's quickly talk about Victor Osimhen. You asked
Okay.
me 2 weeks ago. You said, "What do I think will happen?" I said he'll most likely stay at Napoli. You were shocked, kind of, as to
Cautiously.
what's going on. I do, but I don't want to make it seem as if I'm bashing the guy. I'm happy he is considering going on loan now, which he did not consider before. Which, if he had considered before, he would not be going to Turkey. A lot of people, social media is filled with people with different takes on this. I have kind of some insider knowledge. If he was open to going on loan in the early part of the transfer window, he won't be going to Turkey right now. That's the truth, right? That's one. Tammy Abraham is on loan to Milan. In terms of comp, Aki, Tammy Abraham, Victor Osimhen, skill level, it's almost the same. Even if some people can even argue that Tammy is a better footballer, right, than Victor Osimhen.
I would argue.
Exactly. I will too. But once again, I don't want him to make him seem as if I'm bashing Victor Osimhen, right? So I'm choosing my words carefully, okay? Tammy Abraham just came off an injury with Roma. He's not in good terms with the club as well, and decided, you know what, I need to play myself back into prominence, right? I'll go on loan. I'll go to Milan. I want to play. Yeah? Tammy Abraham is older than Victor Osimhen. I get that. But, it's around the same, if you get what I mean. It's around the same. So, which is what I thought Victor Osimhen could have done, right? Is his insistence on, I'm not taking a pay cut, I'm not going on loan. I don't even have a problem with not taking a pay cut, right? Because if you're going on loan...
doesn't have to take a pay cut.
Exactly. When you're going on loan, it's the loan bit I have a problem with. Because if you're going on loan, Napoli then needs to agree with whoever, right, that we take your salary. I mean, we take... we split the salary. It could be 50-50, it could be 40-60, whatever the case is. It could even be 100% taking, which is what Galatasaray have offered him right now, right? So, but he said he wasn't going on loan, that a player of his caliber should be commanding more a couple of weeks back. That's what he said. Now, a lot of people have also come to say he shouldn't have signed the contract he signed.
It's not the contract, Yinka. It's the release clause. But go on. In hindsight, it's the release clause. But yeah.
Akin, it's not even the release clause, right?
Okay.
See, this kind of things happen. What Osimhen thought about, right? And this is part of the insider info to some extent, is guaranteed money. Yeah. What's in it for me? I'm getting a better deal, right? And I'm helping Napoli to some extent. Because if I then increase my contract, they can get more money from me, which is the same thing that Harry Kane did for Spurs, right? Yeah. So I don't really have a problem with what he did. I think that's actually very good. Yeah.
And it's 25.
It's 25.
We shouldn't be talking about the end of your career at 25.
Exactly. So what happened was, whatever happened, which I don't want to go into, we've talked about this in detail last week. I believe it kind of hurt his profile, right? Cumulatively, yeah? And a lot of people were not willing to meet the release clause. But Napoli were quick to acknowledge that, and Napoli were like, okay, fine. What do you people want to pay? Which is where the problem then comes. When people were offering, right, Napoli either were not too comfortable with it, or when they spoke to Victor's agents and Victor, those guys were not happy with what people were bringing to their table. So they couldn't find a situation where we agree with what Napoli is offering, what the club is offering Napoli, right? And also agree with what the club is offering Victor. In the cases where Victor and the clubs agreed, Napoli did not agree. You get what I mean? So it now became a difficult situation, which is why the highest amount on the table, which was what Al Ahly eventually agreed to, they tried to force him to go, right? And which is why it was like, why do I have to go to Saudi? I don't want to go to Saudi. Yeah. And
but
then
for
Chelsea
40 million euros, I would go to Saudi. Go ahead.
That's you and I will also. But we've now seen rumors or reports, I don't know how true this is, that Chelsea offered him £68,000 per week or thereabout.
Per week, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You people believe is disrespect, right? Yes, it is disrespectful, right? But why do you think Chelsea has done that? And why do you think Chelsea is the only club that was still on the table at that point, offering that amount?
So a couple things. Yinka, if you don't mind, let me go back 2 years, right? So this man has now been with Napoli for 4 seasons, right? It feels like he just got to Napoli, but he's now been there for 4 seasons.
Absolutely.
Right? So last season he had some injuries. The season before was the great season, right? Where they won the Scudetto and all that. First time in 33 years, first time since Maradona. He didn't do it alone, but he was a big part of why they did it, right?
Yeah.
So it makes sense when you have that historic success, you want to reward the people who got you there, right?
Yeah.
And I think he was already getting paid well as a factor of how much money they bought him for, right? When you pay 70 million for somebody, in my opinion, the salaries don't always match. There's people that you pay 70 million for and you only pay them 100,000 a week, but you don't pay 70 million and then pay them 45,000 a week. That's what I'm trying to say. You will pay them something significant. So it was already on good money, right? And then they extend him, they give him better terms, but they put a release clause on it, right? And what is the purpose of a release clause? Some are just outrageous, like the £1 billion or €1 billion that was in Messi's contract. That's just to scare you away. Like, don't even think about it, right?
Yeah.
You have big ones in South America where they don't want anyone tampering with their young kids, and they want you to know if you're going to get this young kid, it's going to cost you money, even though they play for Santos or they play for River Plate or whatever. Right? So these are negotiation, I don't know. And then La Liga, they use it differently, and the way La Liga operates, you can just go deposit the money and take the player,
Yeah.
So if it's a more realistic, that's how Arsenal got Thomas Partey. That's how Liverpool tried to get Zubimendi. His release clause is 50 million euros. Do you want or do you not? But in Zubimendi's case, he doesn't want to leave. That's why he didn't leave. So I say all that to say there are 2 people in this story, Yinka, that are getting a pass. All right. The owner, the owner of Napoli, who is a little crazy, is one of the craziest owners out there. And you know what I said last week about Conte. Conte is one of the most brilliant managers of this generation.
Yeah.
But he's absolutely insane. He's not like a good bedside manners kind of guy.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it, And
sorry.
crazy.
So you're saying Conte is at fault here? Osimhen came out and said, I don't want to play for Napoli anymore.
No. I'm not saying is at fault. I'm saying if there was a manager in the world that I would tap to go into a volatile situation and calm it down, it would not be Conte. If you tell
I get what you're saying, but just to quickly correct you, right? Before Conte came in, Osimhen had told Napoli that he's not playing for them anymore.
I know. But Yinka, let me ask you a question. You a question. You think if Klopp went into Napoli, and there was, let's say it's his best player, best striker, whatever you want to call him. I don't think he's the best player at Napoli, but let's say he's a top 3 talent, right? Is probably their most valuable player in terms of how much dollars it would take to buy him, or the second, right?
Yeah.
I think most other coaches would be like, I can do it. I can fix this. The young man hasn't talked to me yet, right? This happens under the old regime. I'm saying if there are 2 managers in the world that will not do that,
I agree
Conte
with that.
and it's Mourinho. That's what I'm saying.
I agree with that.
Conte and it's Mourinho. They're like, no, I don't want him here. Gone. I think Pep would have the conversation. I think Klopp would have the conversation. I think any other manager will have because they know ultimately what matters is let's go win another league title. And Inter is looking unbeatable right now. I need this guy if I'm gonna do it, or I need to resolve the problem one way or the other. So I'm saying this was a volatile mix, a very immature player who thinks is better than what he is. He hasn't had people like you and I in his life to tell him you're not a very good footballer. You know, you're a hustler, but you're in terms of football skills, he ain't it. You know what I
No,
mean? But he hasn't. Yeah, go on.
but Akin, hold on,
Mm-hmm.
right? If Osimhen, right after that season that he had, if he had left, right, there were clubs willing to pay that release clause for
Yes,
him at the end of
130
that
million,
season.
easy. It was a reasonable release clause, but the world changed, bro.
So, which is the problem here? It's about
Yeah,
it is me that the ego, right? And which is why I told you about the other day that there is nothing called internally generated goodwill. You can't, it's true. The reason why Saudi offer is the highest offer is because they're willing to pay a premium because they know that their league is quote and unquote rubbish. So
yeah.
Saudi pays a premium on everybody. So Saudi market
Mm-hmm.
is different. My
Mm-hmm.
point is every other person in Europe, every other league every other market that Osimhen really wants to be in, those people are like, you know what? At that amount, at that fee, and the whole mess up you all have within Napoli and yourselves, we don't want a taste of that,
Mm.
right? So it is a perfect storm, right? Of what you mentioned, an immature footballer, a stupid agent, right? A stubborn and incompetent Napoli owner, right? And a coach that is just like, I want my guy. Lukaku's my guy. I don't care about this young Nigerian I don't want him, right? So something has to give. Which is
Yeah,
why I said last week, I said he needs to humble himself and get back to what is important. Do you really want to still play football? Then go play yourself back into prominence. All these, I'm the African Footballer of the Year. I can't do this. I can't do that. He told everybody he wasn't going to take a loan. Is he not going on
yeah,
loan now? But I
yeah.
even understand that the gala bid, he hasn't even agreed to it. He hasn't agreed
So,
to the
yeah,
gala bid yet.
Yinka, I think a seismic shift happened in the last 2 years. Like, look, the world of football financing. You talk about it very eloquently. It's very fluid. It's very dynamic, right?
Yeah.
We're still reeling from COVID. There's really no money in Europe outside of the EPL. That's the reality.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and now with Mbappe gone, think about it. Mbappe left for no money at all. He's not being replaced by anybody you've ever heard of.
Mm-hmm.
The star power is now completely gone from one more league, right? There's really no stars in Portugal, the way we think about stars, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Portugal is a selling country. France is a selling country. They're not about to, only PSG pays any money between those two countries,
Yeah.
So Germany is not going to, the last time you played in Germany, you sucked. So Germany's out, you know? Everyone wants to, because these are all copycat leagues, right? Everyone wants to do what Leverkusen just did. They didn't do it by spending 130 million on one player. So why do you think they would do that? The only club in Germany that may spend that money just spend that money on Harry Kane.
On Harry Kane.
They're not about to buy a second Harry Kane and pair them together. That would be insane.
Absolutely.
So, Yinka, that leaves La Liga and the EPL. In La Liga, Barcelona can't even register the players. They had to get rid of one of their best older players just to make room for Dani Olmo, right? And we're already talking about how are Mbappe and Vini gonna play together.
Yeah.
Who you're gonna throw Victor in the mix? He can't even keep up. He doesn't have the ball skill to keep up with those guys. He can't play with those guys.
Yeah.
So that leaves Chelsea, really, or Man U.
So Akin, there were 4 teams that was on his shortlist. 4 of them. It was United, it was PSG, It was Chelsea and it was Arsenal.
Yeah.
United got off the list when they opted for Xerxes ahead of him.
Yeah.
The third
More
is
dynamic,
more
better
dynamic,
skilled,
is cheaper,
taller,
is Dutch,
younger.
is blah blah, is younger, blah blah blah. They
45
opted
million.
for 45 million cheaper. We're not dealing with stupid, crazy Napoli hierarchy.
6'4".
Do you understand? So they went for Xerxes. Some people might not like their choice, but United seem to be happy with what they've done.
I love their choice. The kid looks amazing.
United off the table. PSG on the other hand was like, we have Colombiani, we have Gonzalo Ramos. Do we really need this guy? Right? PSG.
You can play Dembele through the middle in a pinch.
So, and you
I
know,
wouldn't, but you could.
Luis Enrique is a crazy guy.
It's like Conte.
So, exactly. So, PSG excused themselves. Now it's left to Arsenal and Chelsea, right? Arteta wasn't convinced. Right? I don't want to talk. Maybe we shouldn't talk about, but you know the way this thing works. Arteta will always tell you, I talk to the player first, I talk to the agent before we even go and talk to the club.
No, that's real.
At that level, they were not convinced. They opted out. So the only person left was Chelsea, which is why Chelsea said, since I'm the only one in this, whatever, I can lowball as much as I want. It's up to you to say whether you want to come or not. And he was like, how would Chelsea offer me £68,000? Are you guys okay?
So you can't let's just make this, let's put the numbers in the same units so everyone can follow.
Yeah.
So this man, I believe in Serie A is making like 10, 11 million euros a year.
Yes. It's right? Like 200,000 per week. Yep.
Per week.
Roughly.
So I'm not sure if that's net of taxes, because in some countries they give you the number net of taxes.
It's
in
not
England,
net of taxes. It's not net of taxes. In England
they don't.
Yeah.
Okay. So 10, 11 million a year. Saudi was offering him 40 million euros, no taxes. 40 million euros, no taxes a year.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And offering Napoli, 70 something million euros?
60 something million euros.
60 something million euros. Okay.
Yeah.
So half of whatever. But
and they put, to add to that, they put a favorable release clause that Osimhen requested for.
Yes, so he could get out.
They obliged him. So he could get out after 1 year. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So when he will be 26.
Yes.
So, but Yinka, this club, Chelsea, offered a guaranteed money of 4 million euros.
Yeah.
4 million. And then potential bonus, of another 4 million if they make, if they hit certain targets.
Yes.
If he plays X number of games, if they make the Champions League, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Right? So he would have to leave Napoli and then hit targets just to make how much he's making at Napoli now. Yinka, that makes no sense.
He will barely not. He won't even make what he's making in Napoli,
that
even
makes no
if
sense.
He hits everything. But the only reason why he can do that, it goes back to my point. I'm the only person here negotiating with you. There's no bidding war going on.
But Yinka, this is an HR issue. This is human resources. You want this man to come and play for you. You want harmony in your. This cannot be what you show the world. Like, this is how I run my business. You know what I'm saying?
So let me flip this again, right?
Yeah.
All these clubs have their pianists, whatever, right?
I understand.
So maybe this is all they could offer, right? And this immediately, the guy turned. Osimhen said, "I ain't coming." What did they do next?